Hi, welcome to the Soil Health Connection. I'm Liz Harper, Executive Director of the Colusa County RCD. I'm here with my co-host Sarah Light, Agronomy Advisor with UC Cooperative Extension. Today, we are interviewing Dr. Mallika Nocco. Mallika is a Cooperative Extension Specialist in Soil, Plant, Water Relations, and Irrigation Management at UC Davis. Welcome, Mallika.
Thank you so much for being on our program today. In California, water is always on our minds, especially during a drought year such as this, or I should say what is starting out as a dry year. We can't use the word drought yet, I guess, but your lab group focuses on regenerative irrigation, which is a term we actually haven't heard on our program before. What is regenerative irrigation and how does it relate to soil health?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on this program. I'm really happy to be here. Most of us are really familiar with the regenerative agriculture term, just as a conservation and rehabilitation approach to focus on soil health and biodiversity, resilience, in climate change. So I study one very important part of agriculture, and that's irrigation or irrigating. And some people say that the best farmers in the world and the best farmers in California are going to be the best irrigators. So regenerative irrigation is about managing water with a focus on soil health, biodiversity, and resilience, in addition to meeting those water needs and water demands for your cash crops.
How cool. And what specifically are you quantifying in your research on regenerative irrigation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will say that I'm new to California. I've been in my position for 1 year. And in my past work, thinking about irrigation and climate, one of my big projects was quantifying irrigation-induced changes to regional climate in the Midwest. So that's kind of one way I've thought about irrigation and climate change together. And what that is about is at the regional scale, if you have big patches of irrigated land, they can actually reduce the evaporative demand or the reference evapotranspiration of the environment. And that's kind of what I was thinking about and quantifying in the Midwest. Currently here in California, we just got a new California Department of Food and Ag project in the 5 Points area with the Westlands Water District, and also in cooperation with the CTRI, or the California Tomato Research Institute. And that is with Tom Turini, Christina Lascano, and Kate Scow. So we're thinking about both irrigation and soil health. So we're using drone-based imagery to make maps of evapotranspiration or crop water use. And we're also at the same time on these fields doing extensive sampling of soil microbial community ecology, salinity, biogeochemical exchanges, and different like soil properties like texture and available water holding capacity across the subsurface drip gradient. So if you think of your subsurface drip irrigation system, there's this wetting, a wetting zone, but then there's also very dry parts. So like what is that doing to long-term soil health is kind of one of the things we're curious about. And with the drone imagery, we're looking at the differences in the spatial variability of soil texture across a field.
Wow, that's so cool. A sort of a follow-up to that, what long-term work do you think is necessary on the trade-offs between water use and soil health? Because those are really pressing hot topic issues in California.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I'm new here. So I'm thinking about like long-term research and, what I want to do, what I want to collaborate on, what can we all do together? A long-term goal and vision for me is to be able to provide soil health-based irrigation recommendations to growers that are going to balance some of these short-term water costs of practices like cover crops with long-term water gains in available water capacity of your soil. And there are going to be limitations on this, right? We can't just take indicators and organic matter values from humid environments and apply them here in California. But that would be my long-term goal. And I'm kind of working towards that with another project where we're looking at the relationships between California soil health practices, soil types, and then differences in available water holding capacity.
Wow. That's such a great goal. So before we wrap up, I want to know more about your Water Talk podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Water Talk is a new podcast. We've got a full first season and we're in post-production on season 2. And That's with Dr. Faith Kearns and Dr. Sam Sandoval. So with the Faith is with the California Institute of Water Resources. Sam works with me as a CE specialist at UC Davis. And really the goal is to just bring communities across California together to talk about water issues, including climate change, agriculture, urban water use. And we want it to be accessible, science-based programming, or a program that's going to highlight water research. We highlight water research from just a diversity of expert voices throughout the state. So really, it's not just ag-based. It's not just about, what I do. It's about a lot of different topics. And I have to say, it's very fun, and I'd encourage you to have a listen.
Will do. Thank you so much for spending time with us on our YouTube channel, and I hope to see you very soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.